against potential COVID therapeutics. So when we learned that a major ivermectin trial in the UK was halted due to, quote, supply issues, we got a little suspicious. And we were even more so when we saw the statement from ivermectin's manufacturer, Merck. The company said it had concluded that the probability of ivermectin providing a potentially safe and efficacious treatment option for COVID is low and have prioritized the development of alternative candidates that provide a higher probability of success. Probably more money. Dr. Robert Malone is the original inventor of the mRNA vaccine, the platform used by Pfizer and Moderna. He's also the chief medical and regulatory officer of the Unity Project. Dr. Malone, what's your thinking on this ivermectin study being paused?
Hi, Laura. Thanks for having me on again. So this is an interesting situation. And first off, the assertion that the reason why they paused the study was clinical trial supply would basically be medical malpractice for people in my business, clinical research. The first thing you do before you launch the study is you lock down your trial supply. So that one completely fails the sniff test. Either they're grossly incompetent at the University of Oxford or they're lying. It's one or the other, because the worldwide supply of ivermectin is enormous, and there's no way that a competent clinical research team would not have locked down their trial supply. What I did in preparation for this segment was I called up my good friend Tess Laurie, who is the one that wrote the definitive meta-analysis for ivermectin at the University of Bath. She's been tracking this study closely, and she raised a series of points I'd love to go over with you.
Sure.
So her point is that this is a highly irregular study. It was designed last February. The dosing of ivermectin is extremely low and extremely short, only 3 days of treatment at 300 micrograms per kilogram. There's all kinds of problems with the study. They're recruiting up to 14 days after onset of disease. If you want to treat with ivermectin, all of the docs that I work with at our various organizations, including Unity, all agree you have to start treatment early, and ivermectin is a part of a multi-drug staged protocol. That is modern early treatment that keeps people out of the hospital, keeps them from dying. The mortality rate, if you do this correctly, staged early therapy
so Dr. Malone,
with existing drugs,
we might not be able to go through all of her concerns, but just to translate, it was a study almost designed to fail, which is what a lot of physicians thought about the hydroxychloroquine trials as well, that they're designed to fail.
Exactly. It reeks of designed to fail, and it is full of errors, and now they've stopped it for logic that is completely, it fails completely any logical test.
Dr. Malone, I want to move on, if we could, because we're limited time, on this Omicron hysteria that is now sweeping the United States. People want Christmas canceled, concerts canceled, they don't want you to travel, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Dr. Fauci seems to be leaning toward redefining what it means to be fully vaxxed. Watch.
Whether or not the CDC is going to change that, it certainly is on the table and open for discussion. I'm not sure exactly when that will happen. But I think people should not lose sight of the message that there's no doubt that if you want to be optimally protected, you should get your booster.
Doctor, given your knowledge of these vaccines, what is your response?
So Tony is being really careful with his wordsmithing now, increasingly so. He's guarding himself. He says optimally protected. What he's not saying is fully protected. Omicron blows right through the vaccines and through the triple jabbed. Omicron is very, very infectious, and the data are already in. Both the double and triple vaccination is not protecting you from Omicron. Now, here's the good news. In your prior segment, you pointed out that this is more fear-mongering on the part of the press. You're dead on, okay? The number of deaths from Omicron worldwide is less than 10 to my last count.
Wow.
Okay, and the thing about this is, so this, if you believe in a God, this looks an awful lot like a Christmas present. Omicron, apparently, according to recent data from Hong Kong University, has shifted the targeting of where it infects, the Delta and the prior variants were infecting your deep lung, which we know from influenza is a great way to cause severe disease in humans. And it shifted to the upper airway, to the bronchus, and we know from influenza, when viruses do that, they're much less pathogenic and much more infectious. So the good news with Omicron is very low disease, highly infectious. It looks an awful lot to experienced vaccinologists like a live attenuated virus vaccine that you might design for purpose. It's going to elicit a strong mucosal immune response. This is about as good as we could possibly want right now in terms of outcomes.
So, Dr. Malone, again, this is just news you're not going to see anywhere else on television tonight. You're saying what's happening with Omicron, from what we know now, is good news. And yet the media establishment, the political establishment are freaking out to shut things down again, to do untold damage to children and communities. It's stunning to me. Absolutely stunning.
I think they're disappointed with the good news.
Yeah, I think they're really disappointed, because this is the way to move right into the climate lockdowns at this point. Dr. Malone, again, I want to thank you for your input this year on this program. You've been invaluable, and you make it really easy to understand. Thank you so much.